Awesome. So before we begin, I'm just gonna start sharing my screen, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the functions of Fusion 360, what the user interface looks like, what it's capable of doing before we dive into our actual modeling tutorial. Okay, can everyone let me know if they can see this screen right here? Perfect. Awesome, thank you. So this is Fusion 360. Is there anyone who's familiar with SolidWorks or AutoCAD? Have you done CAD modeling before? Sweet, thanks, Alex. Yeah, so Fusion 360 is a cloud-based CAD or CAM tool, and CAD stands for computer-aided design. And I just like to think about it as drawing in 2 dimensions and using magic to turn it into 3 dimensions, which is super cool. And the reason why we use Fusion 360 at the Elko Engineering Garage is because it's free for students and educators. And the same thing goes for all of Autodesk. So Autodesk also owns AutoCAD, Inventor, I believe, and a whole bunch of other softwares. But another reason why we really like Fusion 360 is because it has a really simple user interface. So this interface right here, the first time you open it up, it's probably going to ask you to make a team account. So in this top left corner over here, it shows that I'm a member of 2 teams, so UAlberta Engineering Garage. And I also have my name just for personal projects. So if you are prompted to create your own team, just make your own, and then we can begin modeling. So I'm going to close that. It's not too important at this point. And this is, right here, is the user interface. At the top of this screen, there is a tab. It kind of just looks like Google Chrome or whatever your browser looks like. There's a tab on top, and to the right, there's a plus button. It says New Design. So you can just click the plus button. It will add as many designs as you want. And the same thing, you can just close them like that. Okay, so other features, there at the top, there's this ribbon. There's solid modeling, surface modeling, sheet metal, and tools. For this basic tutorial, we're just going to go over solids, and then I'll show you how to export for 3D printing. Again, I will walk you through each of the steps, so it shouldn't be that difficult. And over here, there's this little drop-down menu on the left side, says Design. If you go there, there's different options: Design Workspace, Generative Design, Render, Animation, Simulation, Manufacture, and Drawing. Cool. Do we have any questions regarding the user interface? I'm so sorry. Was Ethan, did you have a question, or was that just in response to my my microphone check? Okay, I'm assuming we are still good. So let me just check my little outline for today. All right, I also want to show you the preferences menu. So on the top right-hand side, this is where your initials are. You click that, there's preferences. And when you click on this, there will be a pop-up menu, and under preferences, in like the bottom third, it says pan, zoom, and orbit shortcuts. This is really handy, especially if you've done a lot of CAD using different softwares. So you can use this dropdown and change it to your preferred method. So for instance, there's SolidWorks. If you're in Mechie and if you use SolidWorks a lot, you can click that and then all of your keyboard shortcuts will default to the SolidWorks shortcuts. It's kind of annoying if you go between a lot of CAD softwares. The shortcuts are all different. But here you can just choose your own and program them to your liking, basically. So I'll just hit cancel. All right, so let's get into the actual modeling tutorial. Today we're going to be making this really simple box, and it has a sliding lid. I printed this out just like a couple weeks ago to test out the model and to actually have something to show you. But basic CAD modeling will use the same type of workflow regardless of the software that you're using. The only differences between the different types of softwares is, of course, the user interface. You're going to have to get used to where everything is. But other than that, the steps that you would take to create something will be pretty similar. Nice. So assuming that most of you have never been, or I'm just taking a wild guess. If you're new to Fusion 360, you might not be familiar with what the mouse does. So if you take your mouse and you use the scroll wheel and scroll towards the computer, you're going to zoom out like that. And if you take the scroll wheel and pull it towards yourself, you're going to be zooming in. I also want to point out that on the top right corner, there's a cube that shows you what angle you're looking at, and there's a home button. So if you click front on this cube, for instance, it will bring you to the front plane. You can also rotate this cube accordingly just by clicking different parts of it, like that. And if you want to return to your default view, you can click this little home button, which is also on the top right, and it'll bring you back to what we initially started with. There's also pan. I already went over zoom, but if you pan, that's the middle mouse button, and then you can just click and drag. I'm also aware that not everyone has an external mouse, or maybe you're on a laptop. And a good thing to note is that you can just click, there's a little hand at the bottom of your screen. If you toggle that on and then click and drag, it will do the same thing. There's also an orbit feature, which I believe is shift right click, I think. Wait, let me toggle this off. Here we go. Left? Nope. Oh no, it's shift and the middle button. There it is. So if you hold down shift and click the middle scroll wheel, you will be able to orbit. And again, if you're on a laptop or if you don't have an external mouse, you can click orbit, which is down at the bottom here, and then click and drag to orbit around your object. And I also want to remind you, this little home button on the top right is my favorite because it just resets back to your default view. And yeah, so those are the basic controls. Do we have any questions about that? Cool, I think we're all good. Nice. Awesome. So let's begin with our modeling tutorial. The first thing that we want to do is save this document. So just go up and save it as whatever you want to call it. For me, I'm just going to do the date. And then you can save it. I usually just save it under admin project. That seems to work well for me. And we're good. From here, it's really important to set your default dimensions. And to do that, you go underneath document settings, which is on the top left. Click this little arrow right beside that here, units. And today we're going to be in centimeters. So as you can see over here, I got a little pop-up menu, change the unit type to centimeter, and click OK. Excellent. Now we're going to start by drawing a 7 centimeter by 7 centimeter square. And to do that, we're going to click Create Sketch. So it'll be underneath the Solids menu. There's this like square and green plus button. You're going to click that. And then it will prompt you to select a face. And the face that we're going to choose for this is going to be the top. So you can click this top over here and then click the shaded blue square. And then it will bring you to this menu. Now that we're in the sketch menu, we have a bunch of different options for what we want to do. And as I mentioned, we will create a 7 centimeter by 7 centimeter square. And that will be over here. It's called 2-point rectangle and looks like this. And from here, you're just going to click 2 edges and it will show you the dimensions as you begin drawing. And the good thing about setting your dimensions to centimeters at the beginning is that these grid lines will be in centimeters, so you can just like count them. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 7 centimeters, and you can draw your square that way. After you're done clicking that square, click Finish Sketch. Cool. How's everyone doing so far? Are we good on the pace? Are we all at this point in our drawing? Cool. Thanks, Zach. Awesome. So the next step, we are going to be extruding this 2-dimensional square to create a 3-dimensional cube. So to do that, let's go back to our home viewing position by clicking this little home button on the top right. And then we're going to go up to the Solids menu and click Extrude. Extrude just looks like just a cube with an arrow to the top. Click that, and then the Extrude menu will pop up. So over here, we're going to take this vertical arrow and drag it up by 7 centimeters. Alternatively, you could just enter the distance into this little box, or you can enter the distance into the box from the extrude menu. So those are 3 options to extrude, and we're doing 7 centimeters. When you're done with that, just click OK. Nice. Could someone let me know when they have finished extruding? All right. Thanks, Zach. I'm going to ask you that from now on. Can I call you Zach? Is that cool? Awesome. Nice. Okay. So from here, we're going to cut out a hole in the top. So I'm not sure. I think you can see my camera as well. We're just going to cut out that hole. And to do that, we're going to click Create a Sketch, which is on the top, right below that solid menu. Click that. And then we're going to select the top face of our cube. Fusion will then bring us to this position, And similar to before, we're going to click 2-point triangle. And this time, we're going to create a square that is 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. Don't worry about centering the square on your cube right now. I'll show you how to use the dimension tools pretty soon. But yeah, pretty simple. Just draw a square 6 by 6 centimeters. Awesome. And from there, we can use the dimension tool to center the inner square with respect to the outer edges of the cube that we made. And to do that, we will still be in the sketch menu, which is up on the top. And there's 2 vertical lines with a horizontal arrow in between them, very similar to your Eng 130 or Civi 270 or those classes. And to create a dimension, we're just going to click this vertical line of our inner square and select the vertical line of the cube. So we click twice, and then we're prompted to click one more time. And then a box will pop up, and we can enter the dimension that we want. And we want that distance to be 0.5 centimeters. As you can see, I don't really need to specify what my units are because we already chose our default units to be centimeters at the beginning of this modeling tutorial. We're going to do a similar thing with another edge of our box and square. So I'm just going to choose this top line over here and the corresponding line of our box. Click twice. You're prompted to click one more time and then enter 0.5. So now our inner square is perfectly centered with respect to the edges of the outer box. Oh, no worries. I will back up. So Zach, in order to, I'm just going to finish my sketch. Once you leave the sketch, you can either go to this project tree and double click on sketch 2, which will bring you back in to the sketch menu. Let me know if those directions were clear. Okay, awesome. Sounds good. And also, just let me know when you've gotten to this point in your drawing. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Nice. So when you're done, you're going to click Finish Sketch, this check mark on the top. And then you can click the Home button on the top right to go back to your default view. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the hole using the extrude function. It's very similar to before. What you're going to do is click this, which is right below the solid. And then under operation, you want to make sure that is set to cut. And then it'll also prompt you to select a profile. And in this case, we're going to select this inner square that we drew. And that same arrow will pop up. And same thing as before, we're just going to drag it down by negative 6.5 centimeters. Again, if, you can just type in negative 6.5 in this little dialog box over here, or in this distance box on the right. Or if you just like the animation of dragging this arrow, you can do that as well. When you're done with that, just click OK. And then this will be the main object that we will be altering throughout this process. Is everyone good with this step so far? Have we all extruded that hole? Nice. Zach, thank you so much. Also, if, in the future, if you ever see me on campus, by all means, please say hello to me. I love saying hi to people. Okay, cool. So, right. Now we are going to create the sliding kind of, I don't want to say mechanism, that's not the right word. This little notch over here. We're going to be creating this notch right now. And it kind of gets weird with the dimensions, but I'll walk you through it. And if you fall behind, just let me know, and I'll just show you the steps once more. So we're going to create another sketch by using this green plus button. And this time we're going to select the front face of our box, which is right here. If you want to double check and make sure that this is indeed the front, you can look at this cube on the top right, and it's also labeled front. So you know that is the proper plane that we will be drawing on. And again, we are back inside the sketch menu. And this time we're just going to create a line. So there's a line right here. Click on that. And what we are going to do is we're going to start on the top edge of the cube, click that, draw a vertical line down, and then draw a line out to the left at some angle. Right now, the dimensions don't really matter. I'll show you how to dimension that later. But after you've drawn those two lines, you can just click Escape, and then it'll bring you back to, it will toggle that function off. Perfect. And now what we're going to do is we are going to take these two lines that we have just drawn, and we're going to mirror them with respect to the middle of this cube. To do that, we are going to create a construction line. And as you can see in the sketch palette, which is on the right, there is a little function called line type. And to the right of that, there is a sideways V with a horizontal red line going through it. Make sure that's turned on before you draw your mirror line. And to draw a mirror line, it's really simple. Just go back to the line function from the top menu in Sketch. Click that, and then you're going to draw a vertical line anywhere on this face. So right now, it doesn't really matter the length of this vertical line, and it doesn't matter right now whether it's centered or not. I'll show you how to center it pretty soon. So again, just click the check mark or click Escape after you've done that. And then we're going to center it using the constraint tools on the top. So I'm just going to go back one step and draw a line that's super not in the center so I can show you what this function does. Cool. And then from there, we can click midpoint under the constraints menu. The midpoint is just an equilateral triangle, and it's located beside this little lock. So click this one. And then to center it, you will just click the top line of this box right here, and also click this little dot from the vertical line that you just drew, and it should just pop that line right to the center. Great. And from there, we're just going to mirror these two lines on the left with respect to this dashed line down the middle. And above here on the sketch menu, there's two triangles. It's the mirror function, my bad. And this mirror function has a black triangle and a blue triangle, and they're mirrored. Click on that. And could you show how to center the line again? Oh yeah, no worries. So I'll just go back a little bit. Okay, so we're creating a vertical construction line. And make sure the line type is construction, and you can change the line type using the sketch palette. And then I'll just put it off to the side. Again, doesn't matter what the length is right now. And to center it, all you have to do is go to the constraints menu, which is on the top of your screen. And all of these constraints are in red. There's an equilateral triangle called midpoint, and you're going to click on that right there. And to center this vertical line, you're just going to click the top edge of this square over here. And then there's also this little dot, which comes from the dashed vertical line that you drew. Click on that, and then Fusion will just do its thing and center that line. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know. Do you want me to go over the mirror function again, or do you think you have that down? Oh yeah, no worries, all good. So the mirror function, there are two vertical triangles. One is in black and one is in blue. And it's located in the sketch menu, kind of close, right over here. Click on that, and it will prompt you to select the objects that you want to be mirrored. In this case, it's our vertical line and our diagonal line. Click those two, and then click on mirror line, and then you're going to select the vertical dashed line that we made over here. And just click OK, and then it will mirror those two lines with respect to the vertical line. Awesome. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to connect this top edge of the two, this top edge over here with a line and this bottom edge with another line. So click on the line function. It will snap to this top, this white dot, and just, oh wait, hold on. Before you do that, make sure you toggle line type off. I always make that mistake. Construction lines are just reference lines, so they aren't, it's not really good to draw on them. So yeah, just make sure that is toggled off. Click the vertical line, and then draw that line between the two top white dots and the two bottom white dots. Let me know if those instructions were clear and if you've got to this point. Perfect. Thanks, Zach. From here, we are just going to set the dimensions of our slot to be. So in the sketch menu, again, sketch dimension over here, it's the two vertical lines with the blue horizontal arrow in between them. Click on that, and we're going to start off by setting the dimension of this angle. To do that, click this line right here, the line at the bottom. Fusion will prompt you to click one more time, and then we're entering 40 degrees. What's nice about Fusion is that if you set that angle, the other angle should change as well. Excellent. Now, this point gets a little bit confusing because I'm going to teach you how to use dimensions as a function. So I'm going to go over it once, just talking through the process, and then I'll go over it once again, and then you can follow along. But basically, what we are going to do is that we are going to define our dimensions based off of a function. Sounds legit. Sounds really weird, I will admit. But prior to doing that, I almost forgot. Make sure you dimension this top edge to the bottom edge and enter 0.5 centimeters. It's really weird. Fusion hasn't been liking me lately, and it always does this. It has moved our slot down from this edge. To fix that, you can choose collinear, which is under constraints. Click on that, and then you're going to click the top edge of the cube as well as this top edge of your slot, and Fusion should line them up. I almost went off on a tangent, but yeah, just let me know if that was clear. I don't mind going back. Perfect. So now we're going to do the weird function stuff. It's not that difficult. It's just kind of tough to explain. But let's first click Finish Sketch, and then I'll show you what I mean. So after you finish your sketch, go to the last, this is your project tree. Under Sketch 3, it might be a different number for you, but just click the last one, and then you're going to right-click. After you right-click, make sure you click Edit Sketch right there. And then what you're going to do is see this 0.5 centimeter dimension that you made. Just hover your mouse over that, and then there will be a letter number combination that pops up. In my case, it's D8, but for you, it might be a different letter and number combination. Just make sure you remember what that is prior to our next step. So for me, it's D8. From there, we can dimension this vertical edge to the outer edge of the cube by using the dimension tool. So click on those two edges. Just give me 1 second. All right, so click those two. Click once more. And instead of putting 0.5, you can just enter the letter number combination from before. So if you click OK, it will move everything over and show 0.5 centimeters. From there, I'm going to do the exact same thing with this bottom point and the outer edge. So I'm still using the dimension tool. Click the bottom point, the outer edge, once more. And instead of entering just the number, we can just do D8 divided by 2. Or you can simply use whatever letter combination Fusion gave you earlier. So as you can see, everything just fixed itself, and this is where we are at right now. Does anyone have any questions? I know that that's like a really weird and confusing part of this tutorial. Oh, okay. So for you, Zach, If you over constrained, just click OK. That shouldn't be a problem. As for the D8, what you are going to do, just right click over here on your sketch, what is this called? Sketch tree. Or hold on, let me just finish my sketch. So finish your sketch, right click on sketch 3, and then click edit sketch, which will pop up underneath that menu. From there, you will have a list of your dimensions. And what you're going to do, just hover over, like take your mouse, hover it over that 0.5 dimension on the edge, and that letter number combination should pop up. In my case, it's D8, but it might be different for you. Found it? Sweet. Did you want me to go over the function dimensions, like setting this fx to 0.5 and this fx to 0.25? No, it's all good? Perfect. So I'm just going to finish that sketch, and I'll tell you, so in Fusion, black lines means that your sketch is fully constrained. And blue lines means that it's basically just missing information. And Zach, when you said that it's over constrained, yeah, Aaron can, how'd you get rid of a dimension? Pretty sure you can just click delete. Let's see. Yeah, if you just click delete, you should get rid of it. Oh yeah, by the way, this is probably a good time to introduce Aaron. Aaron is the applications engineer. He's also my boss. He's going to be the one reviewing this reviewing this tutorial and letting me know how I do. So yeah, but basically he's the Fusion 360 master. So if I can't answer a specific question, I'll just like ask Aaron to help. Cool. Yeah, the master. So nice. So now that we're done that, click finish sketch. Aaron is just being humble. He truly is the master. Perfect. Now we can go back to our little home orientation by clicking that home button from the top right. And we are going to extrude what we just made out to create a cut. So click the extrude function. It's underneath the solids menu. Make sure that the operation is set to cut. So just click on that, switch to cut. And then under extent type, I like to just click all. And then Fusion will automatically extrude what we just created through that entire thickness of the cube. Cool. After doing that, just click OK, and then I'll show you how to round off some edges. Oh, Zach, have you, can you just let me know? Are you still, is this a good pace for you, or should I go back? Oh, you got it? Nice. So now, excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So I'm just going to orbit my cube a little bit to show you what we are about to do. So as you can see, if I zoom in, this edge is really pointy. And the thing is about 3D printing, especially if you're doing like personal projects, if you're not doing anything too crazy, you want to make sure that stuff like this is rounded off a little bit. So the filament in our 3D printers, our FDM 3D printers, it's round, and you can't really create perfectly straight edges. So we just want to make sure that this edge right here is going to be rounded off. And by doing so, we will allow our lid to fit smoothly through that slot, and then we can easily open the lid and close the lid. So to round it off, we're going to use the fillet menu. I never know if it's fillet or fillet. Someone fillet is option 1, fillet is option 2. If you're bougie like me, please put 2 in the chat. Or maybe if you prefer 1, let me know, and I'll just 2. Yes, absolutely, it's fillet. Does anyone watch like Gordon Ramsay videos? I watch Gordon Ramsay videos. Yeah. Cool. So fillet, it's underneath the, there's a modify menu. Above that, it just looks like a cube with a rounded edge. Click on that. And then this fillet dialog box will pop up. And we are going to change this to 0.05. And as you can see, it just rounded that off nicely. And that will make our lives easier throughout the 3D printing process. You can go ahead, click OK. And then we're just going to do the exact same thing to the corresponding side. So I'll just scoot my box around. Right here, we're going to fillet the exact same line. So click that. Click on the line that you want to round off, and 0.05 centimeters. Nice. So that's the end of our box. We're going to move on to the lid, but I just want to make sure that everyone is at the same spot before we take a little break. Cool. Sounds good. So the lid will probably take about 20 minutes to half an hour. Looks like everyone is pretty speedy in this group. But yeah, feel free to take a break. Let's say maybe 5 minutes. We'll start back at 55. I'm going to stop the recording and start another one for just the lid. And if you want to just like toss your camera on, ask questions, or just chat, feel free to do so.